get that website ready to go.
But I will.
We'll go ahead and begin this afternoon. During this agenda meeting, we will formally review the action items that will be addressed and voted on next Tuesday, May 20th at 6 p.m. at City Hall. It's slightly after 4 p.m. today, and I'm going to call upon our city manager, Mr. Bill Burrow, to review those action items.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. Karen Scott, our finance director, will be giving her quarterly financial report at your May 20th meeting. We'll also have an item for the board to acknowledge your upcoming meeting dates from July through December 2025. And before I get into the action items, Gary Troutman, President and CEO of the Greater Hot Springs Chamber of Commerce and Hot Springs Metro Partnership, is here to deliver his economic development report. Gary?
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it, board. I'm going to apologize in advance. April and October probably our two busiest months, so but I'll hit the highlights here that we sent you last week. The Majestic Committee met with an ongoing prospect that we've been talking to from out of state, along with Wayne Smith and Ben Van Wagner at Oaklawn. Gary and I finished, obviously the school year is rounding out. Graduation, some have already had it, some are coming up. But we taught workforce at Mountain Pine, 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. Cole responded to an RFI that we received from the Arkansas Economic Development Commission. Excited about that. Had a meeting with and tour with Ryder Technical Solutions, and the reason that's important, y'all know about USNR. You know they've shut down, and they were competitors with FiberPro. Ryder Technical Solutions, kind of under the radar, has been doing the same thing for several years. And between the two, FiberPro and Ryder, they are basically taking all the employees from USNR. Because of such, you can imagine what that would do to a small company. So they're going to be growing tremendously, and we had a visit with them at their new site. And excited, you'll hopefully have a lot more to tell you in future months about them. Brian Smith, our chairman this year, and Cheryl, our CFO, attended and completed the Mid-South Economic Development course in West Little Rock for 4 days last month. We were back in school at Lakeside with the 11th and 12th graders, Gary and I. Maybe the big news of the month, we had our third draft day, and it truly has become the biggest one of the state. The state chamber, we operate independently of them simply because we are trying to get our workers to be here in Hot Springs, welcome those that want to leave. Some of us did, some of us came back, but we don't want to have it for all the young people to go to companies in Fort Smith and Jonesboro and Little Rock like we see at the other 9 draft days. I'm proud to tell you we had 18 schools and a record 61 companies. We've had more students. We've had more than 1,200. But after 3 years, we're fine-tuning and getting the 1,200 that need to be there, the ones that are in CTE and looking truly for careers. We were honored to host, really, we just got a phone call and said we're coming, so I won't take any credit, but the St. Louis Federal Reserve Bank President Alberto Musalem came, and Marshunda Briggs from Little Rock invited 25 of our folks there, so we were honored to host him, and he toured the Origami Sake while he was in town. Les Warren and I hosted the same Majestic prospect for dinner one night at J&S. Most of y'all came, and I want to thank you, but we hosted the Elected Officials Appreciation Breakfast. Moving to Friday has been a great move. Congressman Westerman's able to come. Our attendance is essentially almost doubled over time. We've talked, and I hope this is just tipping the iceberg, but we've talked about the Broyles Award coming here, and now we're talking about the Sports Hall of Fame. 2 major events in Little Rock that have come to Hot Springs and Oaklawn this spring, and 822 in attendance for the Sports Hall of Fame banquet. And hopefully we'll have more talks and host that in years to come. I know that's interesting to a whole lot of folks, so we'll have more conversations there. Dr. Porter and I met with Laura Miller, stay in touch about the National Parks interest in the Army, Navy buildings and property. Cole and I participated in a Zoom with another local company looking to expand significantly in size and that qualifies for some incentives from the state. We were in our efforts to expand workforce, and I'll give credit to Keith Smith. We were at a site visit with Keith Smith, and he just looked off in the air, and I didn't know what he was thinking. He said, I'm just doing a mental survey. I've got 2 or 3 people that live here in Hot Springs. I got 3 or 4 that live in Garland County. The rest of my staff team lives in surrounding areas. So that wasn't lost on us. We want to hit the folks that are commuting into Hot Springs to work. So we've been in Poen and Washita schools as well to close out this school year and hope to add Bismarck and Magnet Cove next year. I was honored to participate in the CHI St. Vincent's Magnet reaccreditation interview session at the hospital. I hope to get Crystal Bohannon, or hope she'll come up here. Hopefully you all will recognize them if they achieve this. It is one thing to receive that designation. So few hospitals do. It's almost impossible to receive it twice, and they feel good about their chances to get that. So I hope I'm not jinxing them there. There was the only thing I'll say about the legislative session, there was a bill, SJR 15, that cleared the way for TIF and TID funding on the ballot. That will provide some incentives for retail and some of the other prospects that you all would like to see us come, but simply that we are not on a level playing field with Texas and some of our surrounding states. That was said in a very eloquent manner at the Buc-ee's grand opening. The owner of Buc-ee's said, "We're here in Benton because we want to be, not because we received any incentives to be," but he did cite the 5 million visitors they expected every year. Certainly Hot Springs will be the beneficiary of a lot of those folks that are going to Buc-ee's. By the way, that will be a 75,000 square foot facility, and if you'll Google, that is the largest one they have in their company. So it could be a record tire on that. Gary Jackson, again, 3rd year in a row, was the guest speaker at Lake Hamlin's completer ceremony. They had 174 seniors out of, that's well over half of their senior class, that completed over 210 various vocational paths. Some of the students had 2, and a few of them even had 3. So they've been thinking workforce since the 10th grade. We had a site visit I mentioned with Jim Smith. We'd met Keith earlier, met with Jim at Keith Smith Company. Vicki, Gary, and I attended Cutter Morningstar's signing day, and Vicki presented our workforce scholarship to a young lady there entering the workforce. We were honored, and it's probably honestly more chamber and partnership, but I just got to tell you about it anyway. We hosted the 40th Academic Excellence Banquet this past month. We had top 5% of our seniors in Garland County. The reason I'm bringing it up, it was our 40th event, and Ray and Carrie Owen, but Ray came up with this event 40 years ago. Weyerhaeuser's been the sponsor for 20 years, but if you don't know, Ray and Carrie are moving to Fort Worth, so it was a great opportunity to honor him along with our outstanding seniors. Gary and I continue to meet with Bill Ritter and Marianne Tomei from the college on a 6-week interval, discussing workforce, particular aerospace and welding this month. Honored to be, along with Steve Trusty, on the Oaklawn Foundation Scholarship Board, and presented 125 folks with $383,000 in scholarship this month. Gary hosted our 6th aerospace aviation meeting. You all know we've been meeting with the superintendent since 2006, but they're really getting a level of comfort there with our 5 aerospace companies. They are competitors, but they want to see each other do well, and there is enough to go around. We participated in the state chamber, had a wrap-up call of the legislative session. A lot of that will be that SJR 15. It will be, I believe, Amendment 3. It won't be on the ballot until November 2026, so not a lot of reason to talk about it now, other than we are excited to have that there and levelize that for economic development. Sometimes good to be copied. Arkadelphia announced the hiring of Donald Westerman to have the same spot as Gary Jackson at Arkadelphia as their workforce director. Vicki participated in Cutter Morningstar's 100th anniversary. I participated in the U.S. Chamber Board Media Strategy and Retention Strategy on Zoom, and as the alternate state director, participated in the SEDC board meeting in Atlanta, and Cole and I were there last week. We visited with over 30 site consultants. I'll remind you that's where we got Amazon a couple years ago. We had some really good contacts. Cole has followed up with about 8 or 9 of them, and we're really excited to show them some of the properties that we have now that we haven't had in the past. I know this is the April report, but I'm going to conclude with yesterday because we were very thrilled to have Rex Nelson here in town, and I just want to tell you about some of the visits. We went to Majestic Park and met with Derek Phillips and Steve Arison, and Rex being a big baseball fan and coming back for a baseball weekend in August, obviously that was a big deal. We had our Majestic Committee met at Ouachita Bar and Grill and apprised Rex of where we are there. And as mentioned, we've had a couple visits this month with our lead prospect, and as we continue to work with the library and one other. We went to Origami Sake. I don't know if y'all are aware, but we had that announcement on May the 16th of 2013, almost 2 years to the day. Matt was in one state on that day. Today he's in 30. And I asked him, what about the other 20? And he said, the other 20 are come. We're in the 30 states we need to be in that sell the product. Snow Monkey, if you haven't seen it, is their newest product. We may or may not have sampled the 4 flavors yesterday, but they're outstanding. They do not, and I'm not being a salesman, they don't taste like some of the fruity, nasty drinks that you've had. They taste great, and he's excited about it, and I've got a fantastic marketing campaign behind it. Gary and I spent 45 minutes telling Rex about what we've done in workforce that you all know all too well. We went to see Wayne Smith for a recap of the Oaklawn season, and maybe the highlight of our tour, and certainly the reason I invited Rex more than any, was to see the new water treatment plant. And I'd only driven by. I hope y'all have been by, but the tour is going to blow your socks off. And appreciate Bill setting that up and the mayor. But Rex was just astonished. The building's incredible. Bill, would you like to say anything? I don't want to spill the beans before everybody tours the facility.
Well, we will get this board on another tour out there. It's shaping up. They've got the walls on. I mean, it's starting to really look like what we intended it to look like. All the equipment's in. We've got water from Lake Ouachita flowing through the building. We had another meeting this morning, and just about every portion of the plant is now coming online for testing. Still a lot of work to go. There's probably 1 million wires throughout that building that still need to be terminated, but we had a good meeting this morning. Everything's still on track. We're saying November. They're saying like August, but we'll see when that comes. But it'll certainly be in the fall. But even me, I mean, since the last time I was there, it has really changed in just a really short amount of time. So we'll be setting up another tour for the board. But it is a mega structure. It's phenomenal when you go out to see what we've been able to accomplish.
We'll blow your socks off, and I'll conclude by saying you all know that Rex is a friend of Hot Springs. Rex, Hot Springs is, as he said, New York City to him growing up, being 35 miles down the road. And we were friends at the Democrat Gazette working together. He emailed me this morning and said, I've got at least 6 story ideas for upcoming articles about Hot Springs. I've just got to space them out so everybody doesn't think I'm such the homer. So that concludes my report, and happy to try to answer any questions.
Any questions, Mr. Trotman? Director Garcia?
Thank you, Mayor. First, I wanted to show my appreciation for you adding Poen and Ouachita schools. I'm a graduate of Ouachita, and I know what it means to the families there to have people come in like that. So thank you for doing that.
You bet.
I wondered if you had any status updates on the Uptown Mall. It was posted about potential changes there and redevelopment.
I'm carefully choosing my words. The answer is yes. I don't want to say anything to get anyone in trouble, but the plan is continued. let's face it, they laid it out there for everyone to see.
Yeah.
Demalling the mall is the plan, so I'm not saying anything there. We have had conversations since that video. I think for anything of real significance to happen, I mean, certainly a potential prospect could buy the old Sears. I mean, but we need this bill to pass. This bill would, in November of '26, which we don't want to hear that because that's a year and a half away, but that would significantly alter, to, in a good way, their plans and ability to do the things they want to do. So I don't know what dominoes will fall in the meantime, but knowing how patient they've been, and we're not, but we don't get to make that call. I suspect that they'll want to wait and see how this election comes out, and if it does, take full advantage of it. And I think you'll see that for other properties and ones that you all ask us about as well.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the other, Director Garcia, Ouachita was, I didn't know it was your alma mater, but it was especially gratifying because it was the last school that we did. And, we do this in September and October, and we're passionate about it then. But we're looking these kids in the eye, and they're 12 days away from graduation. I mean, it is rubber meets the road. So hopefully some were listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Director Webb?
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate your report, Mr. Gary. I've got a question to ask you about the Majestic. I think it was December when the Majestic Village idea came out somewhere. Does that sound right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then late February is when the library made an announcement of their proposal to take place at the Majestic. It was around the early March when I think Metro Partnership had a meeting with the library to listen to their proposal. And then around that same time, you were sharing with us here at the City Hall that the Metro Partnership wants to showcase not just one proposal, but have another so that there could be two side by side. And the question I have is, do we have any expected date of when we can see that side by side?
Yeah, that's a great question. We were pushing for June 1st. Now, I want to preface this by, we've got the library coming forward, all right? And we don't, although we don't have a formal proposal, we've got a pretty good idea of what they want to do. So here we are calling this other group and saying, look, it's we know you're entering the game, midway through the third quarter, but you're going to have to hurry. So I can tell you that I appreciate this group is not just for the sake of throwing something out there for you and us to see. They are taking their time. They're visiting with Hot Springs people. They're going to Oaklawn. They're talking to business owners. They're doing all the research that you want, that someone, a community partner would be, not somebody that just comes in and makes a big splash. We've all that have been in Hot Springs have seen those people come and go over the years. They're making a concerted effort. We're hoping for July 1, but I don't want to paint ourselves in a corner there. They are moving quickly. They're doing renderings of their own. And I wouldn't even discount a meeting between the two parties and see if there's a mutual fit there. Because I would remind you, there is 5.7 acres behind the property, so one may want one, may want the other. They could coexist. That's not out of the realm of possibility.
Is where they are kind of determining return on investment? Is that what you were sharing? Like by going out and visiting with Oaklawn and other businesses, trying to see where their numbers line up?
What kind of community support they can have. I mean, the traffic numbers are there. The national park draws 2.1 million people every day. I mean, I've told you all that's why the River Market didn't make it. They didn't. Not only did they not have downtown residents, they didn't have foot traffic because everyone in downtown went home at 5 o'clock in Little Rock. We actually have 2.1 million visitors already walking this Central Avenue. If we can just give them a compelling reason to go from the Arlington on up to the Majestic site, they've got built-in space. But that at the same time, they want to make sure that certain other people aren't going to try to, Oaklawn's been very candid. They're not trying to capture you at Oaklawn. If you want to go spend the day on the lake or go downtown or mountain bike, that's great. I think they just want assurances that there's going to be good community partnerships there to be had, because they are out of state and they're entering this market fresh and did so just a couple months ago. So they're doing the due diligence you would expect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any additional questions for Gary? Hearing none, thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Mayor, we'll get into your consent agenda now. Consider Resolution R2598, a resolution acknowledging receipt of the City of Hot Springs financial statements for March 2025. Our Finance Director, Karen Scott, will discuss the item. Karen?
Good afternoon. Monthly financial statements are issued to keep city management and constituents apprised of the financial condition of the City of Hot Springs. The March 2025 financial statements will be provided as an attachment to the board action request, and staff recommends acknowledging receipt of the March 2025 financial statements.
Any questions of Karen? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is consider Resolution R2599, a resolution awarding a term contract for aluminum sulfite to Univar Solutions USA, Inc., which has been converted to Univar Solutions USA LLC. Our Utilities Director, Monty Ledbetter, will discuss the item.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Bill. Staff is recommending awarding a term contract for liquid aluminum sulfate to Univar Solutions USA LLC. Contract will allow for 4 12-months extension upon mutual agreement. Aluminum sulfate is used at our treatment plant and our wastewater treatment plant to aid in removal of impurities and contaminants prior to discharge. Bids were advertised and posted on the city website. We received 4 bids. Univar Solutions was LLC was the apparent low bidder, and we recommend awarding that to them. This is a term contract. As I said, this is for 4 12-months extensions upon mutual consent between the city and the vendor, and we did budget funds for this year for this, and we'll be requesting funding in 26 and 27, 28, and 29, and staff agrees not to exceed budgetary constraints for those current years and the future years.
Any questions of Monty?
Mayor, I do want to add one thing. When you look at your package, you may see that this does not appear to be the lowest responsive bidder. There was one other that responded at 11 cents. This one's 12 cents. Univar has tax included in that 12 cents, and the previous 11-cent proposal by Chemtrade did not. So when you first glance at that, it looks like this is the second lowest responsive bidder, but they are the lowest responsive when you're calculating tax.
Yes, sir, that's true. They are, will be paying 0.105. Came down to a half a cent, half a penny. It's very competitive this year.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is consider Resolution R25-100, a resolution approving the purchase of a 2026 Kenworth T380 truck from MHC Arkansas Kenworth LLC pursuant to the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchase Agreement. This will be in the amount of $142,880.74. And again, Monty.
Yes, sir. We are requesting the purchase of this truck using the Sourcewell contract from MHC Arkansas Kenworth. The Kenworth truck is with the dump body is replacing unit number 9080. It is a 2009 Kenworth 5-yard dump bed. That truck is needing a new engine. It's currently unavailable to us. And the cost of repairing and replacing that engine is just not worth it. It's time to move on. We've got 4,703 hours on that truck and 69,883 miles. So.
Any questions of Monty on this? Director Holliday?
Thanks. You said it's replacing one with a dump bed. So this is a dump truck, but it's not going to need any additional. I know a lot of times we'll get equipment and we have to send it off to do
Right.
things. It's good to go.
It's
and
good
it
to
is a
go
dump
just
truck.
as is. It comes with the bed on it, and the Sourcewell contract includes the truck and chassis and the bed.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional? Thank you.
Next item is consider Resolution R25-101, a resolution authorizing the filing and acceptance of grant funding from the state of Arkansas National Highway Safety and Administration for eligible expenses for DWI District Court. And Chris is here to present that item. Chris?
Good afternoon. This is the grant from the Arkansas State Police that we have applied for, I think I looked it up, it was 19 years running. This grant provides training for our in-state, for our DWI clerk, our judges, coordinators. It also pays for our national conference, which is held all over the United States. With this, it also pays for drug screens, which our DWI court, our docket, we do not look at DWI 1s, we're looking at 2 or 3s that are more higher risk. The drug screens are used, depending on the high risk, for if we have to drug screen them twice a week, once a week, and as they build accountability, it kind of moves forward. It also pays for office supplies such as the waivers, the judgments, and different deals that the DWI clerk preps before court to make our courts run more effectively and efficiently. It is a match grant. It is under $40,000, and like I said, we've had it for some time. So,
Any questions? Thank you.
thank you.
Next, we have considered Resolution R-25-102, a resolution approving the purchase of an approximately 1 acre portion of certain real property located at 308 Fontana Road, part of RPID 82425, surrounding the Hot Springs Pump Station and for other purposes in the amount of $10,000. And our city engineer, Mr. Gary Carnahan, will discuss the item.
Thank you. So just repeating what Bill said, we're going to ask you to approve a $10,000 property purchase. That property is a unique in that our largest and most important wastewater pumping station in the city is called the Hot Springs Creek Pump Station. And we own just enough land to cover where the pump station is located. But we have an opportunity here to buy land around that pump station so that the valves and manholes coming up to the pump station would then be on city property, and then the land south of the pump station, and so that if we need additional access for maintenance or for expansion of the pump station in the future, we would have the land to do that. In addition, this land is right across the creek from our new Gene Wallace wetlands trailhead, and so it's very visible across the creek. And we would like to take this opportunity to have this land, clean it up, make it look nicer, and plant some screening around the pump station so that it's not as visible to everyone at the park, basically, at the Gene Wallace trailhead. It also would give us an opportunity in the future. Our Trails Master Plan calls for us to extend the trail someday all the way to Shady Grove Road from Gene Wallace Trailhead up Tatum Street and on beyond. And so this would give us the opportunity to do that because we don't really have additional land there except for just a very narrow paved street that goes to a couple of houses. So there are several reasons that this particular piece of property is valuable to the city of Hot Springs and provides us a lot of advantages in the future. So we'd like to ask you to approve the purchase.
Any questions of Gary on this item? Director Trustee.
Thank you, Mayor. Gary, this is all owned by the same party?
Yes, sir, it
It's
is.
just one purchase, it's not multiple purchases come together for the
That's correct.
$10,000? Okay, thank you.
That's correct.
Director Trustee, it's Darren Myers. You're probably familiar with Darren. He's agreed to sell this to the city.
Okay,
And the purchase price, by the way, will be divided between the parks and utilities because it's a dual function.
okay, great, thank you.
Right, I forgot to mention that. Thank you, Brian.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Director Webb?
Did we mention? Thank you, Mayor. Did we mention the purchase price?
10,000.
10,000 plus we pay for the closing costs. So, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Next item is consider Resolution R-25-103, a resolution approving a substantial amendment to the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, fiscal year 2022 Annual Action Plan to repurpose $12,250.70 in total funds and for other purposes. And our Planning and Development Director, Ms. Kathy Summon, will present.
Thank you. This amendment reprograms unencumbered funds from public safety projects completed under budget to be used to rehabilitate the city's quarantine shelter. Funds are being transferred to an eligible activity that can be spent in a timely manner, which is feasible, meets federal objectives, and prioritizes low to moderate income Hot Springs residents. Specifically, this amendment repurposes funds from 2022 totaling $12,250.70 from the Malvern Avenue Improvement Project, flashing crosswalks with thermal striping in the 2022 Annual Action Plan, and this was completed under budget.
Good. Any questions of Kathy on this item? Director Holliday.
Thank you. When this was at CDAC, were there conversations about it being reallocated to any of the projects that are possibly, like, waiting for this list or something? Like, was this the only thing they considered?
This was the only thing they considered, yes.
Okay, thank you.
I think one of the reasons for that as well is that, it's 2022, so our spend down starts coming into focus, and this is money that can immediately be used where another may not be able to get it spent down.
Any further questions for Kathy? Director Garcia.
Not specifically on this, but did we have given something regarding future CDBG funding? Is that?
Have we heard anything about what might happen? We have heard everything from you'll never see another dollar to maybe we'll get the same that we got last year. And none of it is
Official.
really official, yeah.
Thank you. I was hoping.
Any further? Director Trustee.
Thank you, Mayor. Kathy, on that, is that for fiscal year 26, the one that starts October 1 of 25 and goes through September? Or is this year in question? This current year in question?
It appears that it's all in question.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if this year had already been funded and approved, well, not funded, but approved
No.
on last year's budget. So.
No, we would expect soon to hear, but we have not heard so far.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Next is consider resolution R-25104, a resolution awarding a bid to Diamond Construction Company for the 2025 water line improvement projects in the amount of $818,655, and our Assistant Project Manager, Joey Stadler, will present. Joey.
Thank you. Good afternoon. The City of Hot Springs is proactively enhancing its water distribution system this year by replacing the aging asbestos cement water lines on Belvedere Drive. This project is part of the Utilities Department's annual budget and will be involve replacing the existing lines with approximately 3,400 feet of 6-inch ductile iron pipe, 350 feet of 2-inch pipe. The project will also include installation of new fire hydrants and valves for improved functionality. Completion is anticipated by the end of the year, November of the end of this year. Following the competitive bidding process that concluded April 21st, 2025, Diamond Construction emerged as the low responsive bidder out of 7 submissions. Their total bid amounted to $818,655. This figure is notably lower than the preliminary construction estimate of $1,170,157 provided by Hanson McLaughlin, as detailed in the certified bid tab and letter of recommendation.
Any questions on this item? Director Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. And Diamond Construction, you've worked with them on these projects already, is that correct?
They are currently doing our Gulfa Force Main Phase 2.
That's okay.
They also had several of our new water plant project piping.
Yep.
I thought I'd heard that name, and I wanted to make sure it was the same company.
Same company, yep.
Thank
You
you.
bet.
Any additional Director Holliday.
Thank you. And I don't know how easy this will be to answer, but there are a handful of roads in and around the Belvedere neighborhood. I'm assuming that the water lines that are within those private roads are also going to be part of this project. So that being said, what's going to happen with respect to paving?
So they're going to be restored as is. So we're going to put the asphalt back as is. So if it's a 2-foot trench, then we'll put 2 feet of asphalt back.
Okay.
A typical restoration.
Okay, well, I just know, you may remember, Bill, we had a conversation, there's a loop of City Street, and then there's like a spur of private, and there's residents up there, and that road is bonkers. And that's why I was asking, because once you get into it, I don't think there's gonna be a 2-foot strip you can put back. And so I was just curious if, since it's under budget, I guess if you go and you find out it's mayhem and we have to pay more, so be it, but.
We wouldn't pave the entire streets just because they're private.
Right.
But we would make sure that what we're doing, it's returned to at least as good as it was before we started.
Okay,
That's correct.
okay, good luck.
Any additional questions? Hearing none? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is your only item of new business. It's considered Resolution R-25-105, a resolution approving the extension and upgrade of the electrical distribution power lines to the Gulfa Pump Station by Energy Arkansas LLC. This is in the amount of $580,453. And again, Mr. Carnahan.
So we're building, as you know, this big $10 million Gulf pump station, and with larger pumps. And so in order to have the power to run that pump station, Entergy, Highway 270, Malvern Avenue, big power lines feeding that whole side of town, and Lakeside School, our existing pump station, et cetera. But believe it or not, those lines are not adequate to power the pumps in the new pump station. So Entergy is going to build a new line from Mr. Whisker's Catfish Restaurant, if you can picture that in your mind, all the way back into the city to Catherine Heights Road. And they're also installing there a really large transformer to power this pump station. And because we are basically creating the need by building the pump station, we have to pay for that. And it's expensive, $580,000. So we'll use our wastewater bond funds to pay for that. It's part of our new bond fund that you all just authorized. So on Tuesday night, we'll be asking you to approve that. We really don't have a choice. We have one power supplier in the area, and we desperately need to go ahead and get this started so that we can get power to the pump station.
Any further questions for Gary? Director Garcia?
Will this be in our packet regarding what, that's coming from our wastewater bond fund, when the numbers were put together to determine what amount of bonds we needed? Was this included in that budgeting process?
It was not. Fortunately, and will be coming to you in the very near future with a kind of a tally of where we are so far. We've had some ups and some downs, but so far the savings that we've had on some of our bids are ahead of the extra costs like this one. But we did not anticipate, it never occurred to us that the power lines on the highway were not adequate to serve that pump station. So we did not put it in that cost.
We ran into something similar with the new water treatment plant and had to run power there. It was not near this expense. And Gary, I think that transformer, was that like 7 months out to be able to get that?
Right, big transformer. We're fortunate because we already, Todd Pillar was smart and thought ahead, and he's already purchased, and we have on a big generator that we could run the pump station with a generator until that big transformer arrives.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Mayor, that completes all of your items for your May 20th meeting.
Very good. We do have a couple work sessions. Do we have to transition any technology, or?
She may let you.